I feel a certain way about something I've never felt. A place in my soul that I've never been. I think it was built under the basement, bricked up. Yet I have no recollection of doing the bricklaying, so now I'm purveying my depths to get to know myself. You see, I was locked in the attic, forced to look out the window, seeing the things that I didn't have, and it made me wonder, if I wasn't placed by this window to witness what I think I would want, would I wander into myself? Because I've stared out that window every day this year, and every other sunrise a widow is produced, and bastards are left for their mothers to teach them about their dicks. We rally the troops because we value the ballot box votes. The commenter can't conclude that Kaepernick was the first captain of the crew to come up with the conviction to clap back against the proof of oppression in America with the invoice for the caskets attached too.
Come on.
He wasn't the first or last to say that there's problems in this country that need to be faced, addressed, eradicated. Because in all actuality, the reality of police brutality won't keep them from shooting me in my back. Turned away gasping with my hands up, asking to let go. Air's not passing into my lungs. I'm collapsing. No more asking. Fuck, that was my last breath. And history repeats itself. And history repeats itself because history is telling its tale of his story. And it tells itself because history knows itself by forgetting it's repeating itself. So history repeats itself again. And with the last felt clutch at my fingertips on the flagrant gleam of my existence, my spirit seems to forget the source of its seams and intricate stitches. Whose am I? I am God's. And with that, I'd like to take this time to give all praise to the all third eye seeing, supreme Negus, creator of every human being. I am free in him, inherit my freedom. Blessed be his name, God, Yahweh, Allah, Elohim. I'm not moving to Canada.
Right. Come on.
I booked an eternity in my Father's kingdom. Honoring him for the predictions he gave us in the 11th Simpsons season. He has been, is, and will forever be the reason for the season. He has given us the power to craft lyrical bullets. We just actually need them. I season my intellect with the text that put things into perspective. I live as though I already know what I have waiting next. I will not let the president-elect reset my foundation. The option to invest in his flesh is spiritually toxic. Earthly optics are only so good, so I must drop into the bird's eye view from which God sees his kin adopted. So be prepared. Be excited for a mighty scene, a mighty move of God's, because we are God's. Not plural, but God's with the apostrophe. Thank you.
I am about to riot. For the past 25 years, my father told me that the only way to change this world was through my silence. Well, I'm sorry, Baba. I can no longer be quiet. Not when there's generations of my people dying, this African warrior in my blood, and it's seeping out through my tongue, so things are about to get violent. I won't just sit back and watch young men buy into commercialized depictions of what's next. They forgot that they have royalty tattooed into their skin, and I'm talking about in the utmost biblical sense, but nah, they got my brothers going up against each other. Chain for chain, whip for whip, clip for clip, trick for trick. My patience is being tested. My women are drowning in the sea full of lustful comments that would have them to think that they are no more than property and whores for their God-given gift of childbearing hips. So I hope my voice claps like thunder and stirs that uncomfortable feeling in your stomach. You see, my people's work is catching a plummet. They think that we're this bunch of stepping, fetching, circumstantial puppets, and they love it. They keep us so dope, dumb, high on the hype, I'm disgusted. So I'm gonna take them 2 Ks and let 4 bodies dead in the streets of 3rd Ward, and I'm gonna get to busting. Bullets fill the brain, my people's being locked up like a beast in a cage. And this platform that you got me standing on just ain't no stage. I'm riot. I am about to riot. Now, who else is ready to start fighting?
Me.
Yes. Leonardo, when I looked to your design of the Last Supper, I must admit that I was offended. That even in the eyes of an artist, as brilliant as you, the richness of Jesus' melanin couldn't find life, and your paintbrush, no stroke of genius came to you as you erased the dirt that made these men. Leonardo, did you remember Genesis 1:27 when you began? The words, "We are made in our Creator's image," only led you to your own reflection. Woo. Whoa.
Wow.
You narcissist. You see, you lack the understanding of omnipotence, that reflection doesn't always give justice to the insides. Did you leave his hair of wool and eyes of fire in the same place you left your dignity? Yes. The story goes that Jesus told these men to eat and drink in remembrance of him. Yeah. You know, body and blood. Faith unwavering, well aware of the fate that awaited them when you couldn't even find the courage to give justice to his complexion.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the millions of cathedrals your artwork would bring lives to? It's no surprise that so many statues weep, red dry sweet over the image of their father being so skewed that you forced them to stay in the glass so the lives were nicer to look to. How could it be if Jesus labored in the boring sun and the desert dry heat to end his journey in Jerusalem to look like freshly dropped snow? Was this your idea of a little white lie? Or maybe it was the concept of one black man leading 12 others that was too much for you. Or maybe it was the burden of knowing the future trials and tribulations that weighed heavy on you. You know, I can imagine the sweet nothings the leaders of the church must have whispered to you, that it was God that ordained their footsteps to lead a congregation to complacency. But it would be a lot easier if you could just lighten up a few things. Leonardo, you should have told him that white is the absence of color, but black is the presence of all things. You Judas with artistry. Yes! Did you smile while you painted your betrayal? Sing hallelujah like the false prophets before you? Was it easier for you to believe that miracles couldn't come from darkness? Your artwork has caused more confusion than the building of Babylon. Everyone speaks of his grandeur but has never known his real face. You asked me the correlation of olive branch to olive skin. Both are promises of peace. Leonardo, come let us eat. Feast like we are kings on a conversation long overdue. You are the prodigal son that needs to come home. Let's sit for a last supper. Like the brother and sister we really are.
So this is a poem that it's an epidemic in my town, but it knows no race. Okay, and this poem is called Screwston. Chicago. Some people call it Chirac. Because more people died to gun violence than the amount of soldiers that died in Iraq. Well, this poem, it ain't about Chicago or Iraq. It's about Houston. Well, more people died to the overdose of prescription medication in Chicago and Iraq combined. Screwston, H-Town, Houston. With the big city life ain't living unless you slow down. Xanax is the big red soda. It's codeine. It's the styrofoam cups. People of all colors betray a lifestyle that will kill you as quick as it takes to pop a prescription cocktail. There are tombs here filled with Loracets and screw tapes. Soma-induced comas of the ultimate end game. What does this world come to? Well, we kill each other, and while we sleep, we kill ourselves with legal prescriptions, crooked doctors, crooked systems, herding cattle and pill-popping animals. In the last 3 years, 1,200 people done popped one too many Miley. Woo! I'm sweating, because to say you make it to 25 is not just an accomplishment, but a blessing.
Yes.
Why? Because this chop and screw culture can kill you, slay you, just like it did its creator. But it'll make an example of you, like how it did its innovators. You're one heart attack away from a chart song, an automatic clip worth of bullets, a big how you reminds you, you don't have to be here for your song to live forever. Sell you shotgun shells over the counter to kill your mate. prescribe generic opioids in the same building you buy your groceries, get your bullets, the biggest drug pushers of the mountains. As long as you can get a doctor to counterfeit a prescription, man, you can get high by the volume. Hydrocodone by the boat. It took me 3 years to reach 1,200 Facebook friends. It took the same amount of people in my city alone to kill themselves. What does this world come to? We commercialize a pipe dream. The war on drugs is rigged. We a fight team, the mirror, the dealers of the pharmacists, and the pushers of the kids, and the market's wide open. Screwston, H-Town, Houston, where it don't have to be illegal for you to get high. Or fucking die. Suicide is a sin, it's only a crime to oneself. So I said all that to say this. Red a blue pill, red a green pill, red a yellow pill, that red and that purple pill. Whatever pill you select, best believe it's going to screw. Boxed in a womb, prepared for the tomb. You free him out the box and carnage will ensue. Now it's back to the box kid, locked in a horrid cockpit. It's butchers in the box. The cricket mold the keyholes, Pharisee controls the locks. A whole new world, you would hate to figure it out. It's demons in the box, with evil in their heart. With death ain't a state of mind, it's a work of art. Parolees pass go, free from the box and the flesh, but they dream about the box. Witness gruesome things only seen in the box. It's not so much the crime, the system make you fiend for this box. Felony on your record, courtesy of the box. Have you working for the government, being in and clocking out, or clocking in, you know, 12 hours a show. The only difference between guards and inmates ain't nothing but they clothes. In the box, hate grows out the box. Corporate engines use cheap manual labor to rake in profit and roll in the box. Overpopulation is gold in the box. Fit as many as you can hold in the box. Holy war, they don't want your body, they want your soul in this box. You gonna get the satisfaction? Get out there, fuck around, make it happen. Use different statistics. It ain't shit in this box kid. It's sick in this box kid. Boys coming back to the free world reporting what they left with. There's fungus in the box. Disease in the box. You take a shower without shower shoes and you bleed in your socks. Now it's life or death. The time served, you work in the box. Pray in the box. Eat shit and sleep on someone else's clock. Fight for your freedom over someone else's cot. Fight for your life on someone else's block. Now some call it a graveyard for the living. A stone house with spiked ceilings behind Hell's Gate. It's shit's kitchen. You put Vic in a big box for animal killing, but not Zimmerman for murdering a child. It's politics in the box. Blood in the streets, brown in the box. Things are as bad as they sound in the box. Unless you got a whole bunch of money in your pockets, a whole bunch of hate in your heart here, I suggest you stay away from that box, yeah?
Yes. It's called July 4th. I was born to die because of my dark hue. I was born to cry over people I never knew. But our struggles are similar. This land wasn't meant for us, so we're together weeping for better days. Better ways to make a place in a country that wasn't meant for us to stay in. It's Independence Day, but what's independent on the slave ship? We're still in the Middle Passage, still resort to ministers and pastors yelling, one day we'll see salvation, just have a little grace. What if that's not enough? For me to want to see another hashtag and see a people with the same skin as me working in the sun, hoping that their black sons make it to 25. Or at least make it home alive. Right. For the little black girls getting teased for their kinky hair, will this white Jesus portrait be there to share God's love and grace then? Will being black ever not be a sin to the white hooded men exploiting me for the skin I'm in? They kill our daddies, abuse our women, misunderstand our children on the basis of pigment. Then bring up black on black crime out of pure ignorance, but white on white crime according to stats is no different. Racism today looks like mass incarceration, gentrification, conservative media depicting black as lazy, or maybe you think I'm a bit too preachy, but I look at art today and think it's a bit too peachy. Philando Castile and Alton Sterling shot one day apart. The black problem lives on and the same narrative restarts, so I ask, what does independence mean to a slave? We need a resolution, not a white privileged day. I want whips and chains abolished, and the world astonished when they see that melanin shine. And the supernatural powers in the sky to feel proud to have birthed us, not separate but equal. We need master teachers, black leaders, and our men to make it to the sequel. I feel like Baraka in a world of white poems. We need a black one. No race against us shall prosper without some reparations and laws passed to restrict restrictions on the black experience. We are not delirious. I want to be washed of all my sins and wake up with a grin to a new day and a different end to the tragic black story. Independence is near, but how do we reach for it? I came today not bearing answers, but allegories that this can change. How we tweet our pain with disdain because hashtag someone was killed for living while black.
Come on.
Wow.
Light as a feather, stiff as a board, 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 flying like phoenixes, falling like 2x4s, fornicating, creating bastard children of thought, planted in the wombs of mind gardens. Till this soil, till you reap the harvest, birthing feathers for flight. I will speak no more until my word is light. The word is a weapon. My tongue is a sword. The word is a weapon, my tongue is a sword. The word is a weapon, my tongue is a sword. The word is a weapon, my tongue is a sword, cutting cavernous gashes into the flesh of the soul. Hold your tongue. Like the hammer on a gun, cock your jaw back and release this loaded bullet into the chamber. I will not manifest this anger into word ammunition. Listen, the word is a weapon.
Yeah.
My tongue is a sword. I will speak no more if I can't use my tongue to slay the dragon. Free the princess from the palace, defend the men from the front of the battle, wielding my tongue to dismantle evil forces, dressed in full armor, riding white horses. I won't speak if my word is the plank for a foundation of degradation, destruction, and damnation, punctuations like nails holding together exclamations that build houses to house this residence for resent. Complaints pay the rent, guaranteeing tenants would never mortgage resolution. I have a solution. Hold your tongue, O impetuous one. Guard your thoughts like a firstborn son. Protect that whom you birth from the evil of this earth. Do not send your thought out a sheep amidst the wolves if the content of the thought is covered in wool. The sharp teeth of the beast will consume your beliefs and spit out good intentions like the gristle of the chicken. Ideals become meals for the enemy's henchmen. Oh, young men and women, my solution is to close your mouth and listen. Thank you. I set forth to write a song for you. Something that would see you through, keep faith afoot and perseverance in your lungs. And when you exhale during the difficult part of your journey, your labored breath would sound like hope and song. I dug deep to the natural rhythm of my feet and the sway in my hips. I looked for song in the nod of my head and a purse envelopes. I had hoped to recount all my downward slopes to find the fuel and tools necessary to compose your song. But you've been singing too long. Hymnals, spirituals, and heartbreak anthems, a triathlon of songs panting, I will survive, and Lord, I'm coming, creates repetitive humming that is like a buzz no more noticeable than the whir of our computers. Whereas once, your song could inspire a nation to part seas, virgins to part knees, and the suffocated to breathe. But if you've been singing for survival every mile of the way, the melody starts to lose its taste. The overchewed cud of "we shall overcome," it tends to wear away at the tongue. And I've sung so many songs of survival that my recant, it would no more than minimize your trial. My off-key, out-of-tune is no redemption song for your doom, and soon I started to realize that singing you lovely lullabies was a far cry from what you needed.
Come on.
Composer defeated, I told myself retreat. And I finally found no shame in that. You see, my people, once upon a time, we were soldiers. And we were sold this idea that retreat was delayed defeat, and that rest was for the wicked, and that a moment to cease and peace was only afforded to the weak. Speak nothing of wars and worlds of warriors and rest in the same breath. Our emperor spun us those webs, and we tricked our souls with songs of salvation in order to fulfill unreal expectations. No retreat, no surrender. And we called it kamikaze. They had us killing ourselves and believing it was honor. Suicide bombers, slaves, servants, Gentiles, Jews, the disenfranchised, and every child that struggles too. We see our way through with nothing more than the sound of our own song. But before you happily sing along, consider this. When regarding tyranny and the oppressed, in the game of chess, it is solely the pawn who is required to only move forward. There are no symphonies here. No melodies that would trick your ear or harmony to harp the heart. Tenor of thy tears, fallacy of falsetto. Allow your vibrato to settle and silence your song. And breathe. And I will hold the chorus while you breathe between the notes. And somehow, your exhale will still sound like hope. Thank you.
Endowed with the power of life through human form, I'm charged with the task of making sure my sisters and brothers are warned. There must be room for new life, new forms of existence, and new heights. Consider the breaking of the seed and its desire to be ripe in order to start all over again. In order to start all over again, I take to paper and pen in hopes that you will remember, in hopes that we might remember my indigenous peoples, my black and brown peoples, my peoples who remember the roots of their grandmother's gardens. May we remember that we have survived Trump's America for 500 plus years. May we remember that we have been resilient as survivors and pushed through our tears. May we remember we have not been indoctrinated and controlled by fear. May we always remember that we have been courageous. That we must continue to be courageous. May we continue to be courageous, 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 courageous every single day. See me, I'm from immigrant dreams.
Yes.
Born amidst war and faded stories of rape and guerrilla warfare, from instinctual survival. From creativity, cotton 22, or 15 children with no shoes who witness mommy and be the other room, only to be told over and over again, this is where we come from. This is who you'll be. Villages killed and teachers hung by U.S. trained military. No matter who won the presidency, I said villages killed and teachers hung by U.S. trained military. See, we were trained to hold our tongues, to become field slaves who hunger in the night for a new visionary, believing freedom is still to come. We believe freedom is still to come, so we sleep and bathe in this American dream, knowing that in reality, I come from the need to survive so that we may live, so that I may give and belong. If not to a family, then to a struggle and a song. If not to mi madre, then to mi pueblo. In these poems, see, I was raised on the memories of my people so that I may know them and I may remember that I come from border crossing. From crushing silence and the desperation of belonging, from broken hearts and minds, but fighting spirits, always fighting. En la lucha, no hay de otra. Si se puede seguir in this never-ending desire to be from something more than lost childhood dreams. To be someone more than child who knew no tenderness in their seams, who cannot name their tears. who are without the privilege of living without fear. You see, I come from the need to survive so that we may live. Pero me dicen, oye niña, ¿quién tiene tiempo para justicia si tengo que limpiar esta casa y dar de comer a mi familia antes de ir a mi segundo trabajo? And they tell me, yo, Erica, who the fuck has time for justice anyways when all we have is just us and a payday? And I say true. I say true, but to answer your question, I've not come from a city or a place, rather I've seen my home sown and grown in the potential of this here space. So in the midst of it all you really need to know is that I was raised on hope. That the living would come alive. That we could do more than just survive, so I could stand here and look into your eyes and remind you. Tú eres mi otro yo. You are my other me. So you better find your place in the struggle, because it's about that time for our people to live free. Yeah. To my beloved world, every act of intimacy is also an act of courage, an act of faith, an act of selflessness. Every act of sharing is an act of self-defining, an act of building, an act of moving closer to ourselves, to our beloved worlds that we have known very little about loving. In all of its wars and contradictions, in all of its sickness and faltering trust, we have trusted the impulse to survive, the impulse to stay alive, the impulse to demand we matter. And some of us seem to matter more or less than we hear the screams jump off our screens, our desks, cement pavements and chests. Black lives, native lives, his life, her life, their life, the life of the post-04s that once stood tall and strong on the ground beneath us. We stand on land human settlers have called their own. With a book and sword they greet us by way of murder, continuous killing in the name of expansion. Death has long been sown in the modes of living we sanction. We assassinate the trees, penetrate the earth without consent, drink her black blood runs in tons, drunk off black blood, rum drummed in the belly of the black snake. Oh, what shallow and narrow worlds we have given ourselves to roam, and here we are, children of war, keepers of lost stories, seekers of justice. Our resilience lies in the whispered truths that we have virtual windows the size of window stoops that show us other worlds, alternate dimensions of possibilities and reflections that suggest infinity and beyond, and we have grown strong. We have come a long way on the back of our ancestors, cross continents and waves that crash the shores of islands and lost caves and Section 8 houses. In the grief of families displaced, we have grown strong. In the promise of mobility, to know what it feels like to move into humanity, lived out in front of cameras, published on pages that design the architecture of our hashtag goals inventory, yet we have grown blind. To think that humanity can fully be defined by sleepless nights, lights from the length of a CV or a resume, or the length of credentials before or after a name that we have rarely taken the time to learn or say correctly. How little we have seen to value the roots we have been told to recruit from the ground of our ancestors' gardens. How little we seem to value the roots that we have been told to recruit from the ground of our ancestors' gardens. How little we have been told that we are enough. How little we have been told that we are enough. That we have been miraculously loved into existence. That we are a collection of miracles. That with every act of intimacy we grow more powerful. We grow courageous in our beloved world, a world made of many worlds, a world made of sacred living and the infinite and complex power of love. We are enough. You are enough. You are enough. You are enough, and you are loved. Yes.